It seems like every time I look around today, in bars and restaurants and schools and just in cars, I see clouds of smoke coming from people's, and it's not the conventional typical tobacco cigarette. It's electronic cigarettes that are causing this. Many of you guys might vape, or you might know someone who does, so I thought it'd be interesting to take a look at vaping, exactly what it is, the pros with it and the cons with it. Myself, I smoked for over 17 years, and about a little over a year ago I quit. And although I didn't find it necessary to switch to electronic cigarettes, I know a lot of friends that have actually made that successful switch from smoking conventional tobacco cigarettes and going to vaping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide a little info on vaping, a little overview of it. I'm going to leave you with some of the positives and also with some of the negatives. So if you're sitting here confused, do not be concerned. Let me first cover the basics of what vaping or e-cigarette use is before I tell you about the pros and cons. E-cigarettes are simply short for electronic cigarettes. When you inhale an electronic cigarette, that's what's known as vaping. According to info found on WebMD in an article by Regina Boyle-Wheeler titled The Vape Debate, What You Need to Know, Regina explains that a vape is just a simple device, battery powered, that has a liquid in it that contains nicotine. You inhale that nicotine and the battery heats it up to produce water vapor. There are many different types of electronic cigarettes, but they all share the common characteristic of that, a battery powered device that heats up the liquid. In another article in the Scholastic Action magazine titled The Truth About Vaping, Arthur T. Olson lays out some of the important dates relating to e-cigarettes. In 2007, the first electronic cigarette was sold. In 2013, those skeptics were already coming up with some of the troubles electronic cigarettes were already causing. One of the main ones was due to becoming so popular amongst teens. In 2017, the first Juul came out, which turns out is the most popular electronic cigarette today, which we'll touch a little bit upon in a minute here. So now we have a little background on what cigarettes are. Let's take a closer look at the positives about vaping. There's no bigger positive than it helps people quit the conventional tobacco cigarette. Research done by Rachel L. Goldberg and Dr. Janine T. Cataldo that was published in the American Journal of Health Behavior interviewed people why electronic cigarettes are preferred. No more than the health benefits. It's a good alternative to smoking conventional cigarettes. Also, people like the convenience factor. They're a lot easier to get around. You don't have to constantly go buy your packs of cigarettes. The smell and the flavor. You don't have the terrible smell of an old cigarette, and they come out in so many different flavors that I can't even begin. Cotton candy, you name it, they have it. And also the cool factor, which we'll get into might be a negative amongst teens. In an article in 2014 published in the Environmental Health Perspective, C. Arnold calls e-cigarettes the, quote, lesser of two evils. So most of the positives relate to the alternative, but there are many negatives when we talk about vaping. One of the big ones is that it's so new that we don't have extensive research about it. And no more so, in my opinion, is how popular it is among teens. Teens kind of think that it's cool to do. You see it among middle schoolers and high schoolers. It's really popular on social media. I can't go through a social media tweet without seeing somebody posing with their vape. And a meme that I kind of found funny was people said, had a picture in a bathroom and said, please remove the toilets out of our vape room. So that just shows the popularity amongst kids through high school, middle school, and college especially. According to an article on WebMD by Regina Wheeler, teens were up to 6 times more likely to try conventional smoking after trying vaping. So it's not really serving the purpose of getting kids off of cigarettes. They are in turn picking up cigarettes because they tried vaping. A different article by Dr. Douglas in Contemporary Pediatrics titled Teen Vaping, Time to Clear the Air. She mentions many of the dangers, and eye and respiratory issues arise, especially respiratory issues with people that already have problems with asthma. The high heat from the battery pack can cause cancer. Emission studies have been done on secondhand smoke of vape, and secondhand smoke has a lot of bad chemicals in it as well. And curiosity. Teens technically only 10% of teens are vaping for the first time in order to quit smoking. So the other 90% are just trying it because it's cool or because they're interested in what it's like. So there's been a lot of information thrown at you, so I want to go ahead and wrap this up and talk about what all this means. Just to go back over, electronic cigarettes are small devices taking the place of tobacco cigarettes. The biggest positive to them is that they help you quit traditional cigarettes. But there are so many negatives, no more so than the fact that teens are trying them at an increasing number. They're so new that we don't have many studies. 15, 20 years down the road, we might find that these could be about as dangerous as cigarettes were. Way back in the day, I know my dad talks about it, his first job, his first part was to offer an ashtray to each client. And looking back, that's funny. It's funny that we used to be allowed cigarette smoke on a plane. Today, now in 15, 20 years, we may be saying this about electronic cigarettes, but we don't know. The data's not there. So I want everybody to form their own opinions about it, whether or not it's useful, whether or not it's serving a better purpose, and what you think about it. So I appreciate everybody's time, and I hope everyone has a great night. Thank you.